So look, bro. Today I'm gonna be telling y'all the story of the time that I finessed the plug for £1, right? So this all happened probably when I was like, I don't know, I want to say 16 or 17, right? It was back when I was selling a lot of weed and I was still in high school, right? This is back in the day when Snapchat was the way that everyone would sell weed, right? Keep in mind, where I'm from, weed wasn't legal yet until later. Now it's legal where I'm from, but it wasn't back then, right? So this is back when I was selling a lot of weed, right? So people would sell weed on Snapchat a lot, right? Because it was anonymous and most people just used it and it was easy to sell on there, right? You just post it up on your story, post your prices. I remember there was at one point when literally one day everybody got banned, right? I don't know what happened, they figured out how to mod their app or some shit, but right then and there everyone got banned, right? So before that happened, I was on there and I was selling a lot of weed, right? I wasn't shipping it or nothing, but I was just meeting up with people in my area and finding connections and shit like that through there. This day I was supposed to go sell some weed, I remember. I didn't have a ride, right? Because this is before I had my license. I didn't get my license until I was almost 18. Couldn't afford driver's ed until then. My state, you have to pay I think it's $450 or some shit for driver's ed. And if you're not 18, you have to take driver's ed to get your license, and I couldn't afford that shit. So there's a way to do it through the school that I went to also. I didn't take that class. I didn't have enough credits, and I sucked at fucking high school, so I didn't get into many electives. But anyway, I'm getting sidetracked. This day, I remember I was supposed to get a ride from my buddy who lived in the same town as me to go to I don't want to call it a big city because it's really not, but I guess the bigger city near me that I went to high school in. But I lived on the outskirts and technically in a different town, so it's too far to bike. I don't think the bus was running that day. Plus I remember it was fucking pouring rain, so I wasn't taking the city bus either, because it takes me a minute to get to it from my house, because I have to bike from my house, or my parents' house. I don't live there anymore, I own my own house now, but I had to bike there and then all the way from my parents' house to I think it's 5 miles away to this the bus pickup, and then ditch my bike somewhere, hopefully it doesn't get fucking stolen, and then get on the bus, right? But I wasn't doing that this day because it was fucking pouring rain and hailing, right? And so I'm sitting inside, right, pissed off, bored as fuck. I'm just scrolling through my Snapchat, just seeing what's up, and I remember this dude added me, right? And I had no idea who he was, right? But in his name it literally had Cali Plug 420 Doctor something or other, right? And I was like, alright, let's see what this dude wants. And most of the time when it's the people that are selling weed online on Snapchat, the ones that are oh, I'll ship you, blah 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 blah, 9 times out of 10 those people are just fucking scammers. They're just trying to take your money, and half the time they don't even live in America and are actually just from some random ass fucking country trying to scam you for your shit. This dude adds me up, right? And I check out his story. On his story, he had a decent amount of pounds, right? And at this time, I kind of knew how to tell if someone was actually taking photos from their camera roll or if they were taking it live, right? And this dude was taking it live, meaning he actually had this shit, right? And so I'm looking at this dude's page, right? And his bud is looking pretty good, right? It's Cali shit, right? And then he posts a video of his farm, I see, and it's out in the Southern California desert. And to keep in mind, I live on the East Coast, so I'm fucking nowhere near California. I'm originally from Humboldt, California, but I moved away from there with my mom when I was 3, so didn't really know that area too well. But anyway, this dude is posting up his greenhouse out in the middle of the fucking desert, right? And I'm looking at this shit and I'm just I guess I'll hit this guy up, ask what his prices are. Actually, I think he hit me up first, if I remember correctly. He texted me and he was like, oh, what do you do? Do you smoke? Blah 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 blah. And I'm like, yeah, man, I smoke and I sell weed. Because at the time, I was flipping a decent amount of weed, probably a couple pounds a week, right? This motherfucker hits me up and he's like, oh, blah, blah, blah. I have fucking so many pounds, blah, blah, blah. He's like, oh, what are your prices? What do you normally pay, right? I just kind of got ballsy with it. I sat there for a second and I thought about it. And I'm like, what if I just lie to this motherfucker? Tell him a really cheap price and that I get it fronted, right? So I'm like, oh, I normally get it for I don't know, $500 a pound. And he's like, oh, well, that's a little bit too cheap. You must be smoking mids, right? And I was like, nah, man, it's pretty good. It's pretty good. And he's like, what if I could get you for $500 a pound, right? And I was like, you know what? Let me see the bud, right? Trying to act all interested and shit. And so this motherfucker, he sends me a video of this shit, and it looks pretty good, right? I mean, it's nothing crazy, but it's, decent Cali bud. And so I end up thinking for a second, right? And while I'm thinking, this dude calls me. This dude that I used to sell a lot of shit to, right? He used to buy a lot of weed and acid and coke off me when I was selling all that shit, right? At this point, I wasn't selling coke to him yet, but I was just selling weed and acid. But later down the line, years later, I started doing that. But that's a story for another day. So this dude calls me, right? And we'll call him Mark, right? So Mark calls me up, right? And he's like, yo, do you have any acid? I'm trying to trip tonight with my buddies. I want like a 10 strip, right? At the time, I think I was out. I had some shrooms, some penis envy shrooms. So I told him, yeah, I have some of those. I think I had about a half ounce of those. And so I told him that. And he's like, okay, yeah, I'll buy those. We could do shrooms instead. I just get this thought in my head while I'm talking to him, right? He lives next to a bando, like an abandoned crib. I know that he smokes in there all the time and he fucking hangs out there, right? So I get the idea. I'm like, yo, bro, if I threw you like a full O or like a half O, would you let me order something to like the abandoned crib next door? And he thought about it for a second and he's like, yeah, bro, I probably would. Like, what's the risk in me? It's an abandoned house next door. And so I was like, bet, let me call you back in a little bit. I gotta do something real quick. And so I hung up on my bro, I hung up on Mark, and I go and I open the text from the other guy, and he said 500 a pound. And so what I told him is, yo, bro, I get my shit fronted, right? And I always come back. And so at this point, he's like, let me think about it real quick. How can I be sure you're gonna come back with the money? And he's like, oh, can you take a bond, like show me that you're not a cop, basically, right? Like take a live video of you smoking, right? Like first I send him one just for my camera roll, and then he's like, nah, bro, that's fed, like you gotta take a live video. And so I bang out my camera roll, I go sit outside, and I didn't really want him to know what I look like, because I'm already thinking like, I'm scheming, bro, I'm finna take this shit, he ain't gonna come get this shit all the way from Cali, right? And so I put on like a little mask, right? And I go outside and I'm ripping my dab pen and I take a bong rip, right? And I don't know if y'all remember this shit, but it was one of those like Guy Fawkes anonymous masks. So it looked cringy as shit looking back, bro. But it was, I didn't want him to see my face, right? I take the bong rip, boom, fucking send it to him. He opens this shit and he's like, all right. How do I know you're not gonna run off? I was like, oh, well, you're gonna have my address, right? Not knowing it's a fucking abandoned house, right? The other thing is, on Google Maps, I went and I checked, and on the street view, it's not abandoned. Like, they didn't have it updated. And it's not even that abandoned. I think it wasn't even really abandoned. It was just like vacant, right? Like, there's nobody living there, and they left it unlocked for some reason. I send him the address, and I'm like, go look at my house, like you can go check it out, right? Like you can come kill me, right? Like whatever, get it back. Like, and so he finally is like, all right, like I guess I'll do this. I'll send you the pound. Just make sure you get me the 500, right? He tells me that he's gonna ship it out to that night, right? So I'm sitting there, and at this point, I didn't even really believe him. Like, I was like, oh, bullshit, this is probably fake. Like, he ain't gonna send nothing in the mail. Like, I kind of almost forgot about it. I went, and I called my mans back. I'm like, yo, he says he's gonna send a pound, but I don't know. Do you want me to still pull up with that weed and shrooms? And he's like, yeah, bro, pull through. So at this point, my other dude, he finally got off work, and he came and he picked me up. I went and I sold that shit to him, right? I straight up told the dude, Mark, while I was with him, the one that lives next to the bando, I told him, yo, bro, like, I'm gonna get a pound shipped here, right? Because, like, I trust Mark, and I know he ain't about that shit. He's a good kid, so he ain't gonna steal nothing, bro. He get his ass whooped. I get up back to my crib, right? And when I get back to the crib, I notice I have a text from the dude, right? The plug for Cali. And I go and I check that shit, and it says, it's like a tracking link, right? And so I'm like, no fucking way, bro. So I go and I click the tracking link, and it's real, bro. It shows a package that's like it's on that side of the country. Like, he just dropped it off that night. And so I'm like, bet, bro, that's what's up. I didn't want to like block him or something until that shit landed, because like I didn't know if he could like take the package back at some point or some shit. Like send it back to himself or cancel it, because I'm pretty sure there's ways you can do that. I just kind of waited around and didn't really say much other than I would text him actually a couple times, and I was like, yo bro, like I'm waiting on that shit, like I'm gonna get you that money, don't worry bro, blah 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 blah. A couple days later, it was pretty fast, I think it was like almost like a week, probably like 5-6 days, but I get this text from my man Mark, right? And he's like, yo, I think that I just seen the man drop off a package, right? So I go and I check my fucking tracking link thing or whatever, and it says delivered, right? So I have my man Mark go pick it up, right? So he runs and he grabs it. He texts me, right? And then he texts me a picture of a box, but it's been punched into, right? Like there's a hole in it, right? And I'm like, fuck, dude. Like they took this shit. The mailman took the shit. Like he's gonna fucking smoke it all. He's gonna report us, some bullshit, right? After that, he sends me a video. I'm like, yo bro, open it, make sure it's still in there, right? It should be £1. And see, so he opens that shit up on video, and sure enough, inside the box is literally just a turkey bag vacuum sealed £1, right? Just sitting there, fully sealed and everything, nothing wrong with it. I don't know why the box was punched open, but shit. I mean, later I maybe thought that like the feds were building a case on him, so they're punching it open and letting it go through, you know what I mean, to like track it or some shit, who fucking knows. But in the box was literally just the £1 with a water bottle next to it, like a plastic random like water bottle, right? And I'm like, fucking bet, dude. So immediately when I found it and it landed, right, or my man Mark found it and it landed, I just blocked it, dude. I fucking blocked him and like never thought about it again. And so I got my man's the same dude that drove me the night before, I got him to drive me on over, and I went to the girl's house that I was selling out of at the time afterwards. We walked over there because I had my scale there and a bunch of other shit. We bust that shit down, and I gave him, I think, 1.5 ounces, because like it was a little over £1. It was like, I think it was like 18 ounces, bro. So there's an extra 2 ounces in there. So I gave him 1.5 ounces. Damn, bro, that's the story about how I finessed the plug for £1. I guess moral of the story is, don't be a dumbass and don't front people over Snapchat. Anyway, guys, if you like this content, make sure to subscribe and leave a like, hit the bell thing, and leave a comment or some shit. Anyway, peace.